Hey everybody, welcome to Weekend Wrap, our look back at a wild MLS weekend that began with the first kick on Friday night and did not let up until the final whistle on the final game on Saturday night. Jonah Friedman here with armchair analyst Matt Doyle. And Matt, let's look back at three of the best of them, starting at Friday night at Livestrong Sporting Park.
The Sean Johnson show, I think is what we'll call that. Player of the week caliber performance from the young keeper who's really bounced back from his struggles in the Olympics. The other story besides him just putting on a miraculous game was that counterattack goal that looked so great with Marco Papa and Chris Rolfe. And almost all of Sporting KC trailing behind the play. You could see Roger Espinoza just give up on it. And if he had kept his run going, he would have been there to at least trouble Papa somewhat. Sporting really a team out of gas. 2-5-2 in their last 9 after that great start. For Chicago, 3 wins in a row. They're really climbing the ladder, looking the part of Eastern Conference contenders. Central defense has straightened itself out. Arne Friedrich returned. And new Brazilian midfielder Alex looked very spry and pretty creative and a little bit of a showboat there. Had some players tweeting about it. But all the pieces seem to be in place for this team. Number 2 on our list, New England hosted Seattle.
Yeah, and all the talk going into this game was about Seattle with a franchise record, 7-game winless streak. Are they going to turn around in New England? It turned out no. It was the kids' night to shine. Diego Fagundes, he comes up with some big goals when given the chances and came in as an 81st-minute substitute to equalize the game in stoppage time, much like New England did last week in Toronto. They've got all the momentum on their side, and apparently Jay Heap said to Fagundes before he put him in, "Kid, this is your night. Get that first goal of the season." 17-year-old homegrown did not disappoint. For Seattle, that is now 8 games in which they have not won. It's getting a little more dire for them. Eddie Johnson with the brace in this game, both off some pretty nice headers. He's now their leading scorer, by the way, but also saying, you know, we're just not finding a way to get it done. It's an understatement, but it's something they're going to have to fix pretty quickly. The number 1 game of the weekend, it's no surprise. We were both there. We can both vouch for this personally, the Cali Clasico.
It lived up to, exceeded, I think, everybody's expectations. I mean, if you were to write a script, you would have Chris Wondolowski getting the game-winning goal on some sort of spectacular play, which we saw. You'd have David Beckham hitting a free kick, a classic free kick, which, you know, the fans, some of them didn't like it, a lot of them did. There were a lot of screaming little girls in that one. Just both teams going at each other for the full 90 minutes trying to attack. And of course, then there were the afters, little scrum on the field, Kari Stevenson, David Beckham, Sam Cronin, Victor Bernardes, Q, the Quakes mascot, who, you know, some sort of Muppet. It was a spectacle, but it was also a really, really good game. With a really, really good team in San Jose, showing that they could put themselves in a hole and then just as easily dig themselves out of it. There's a lot to be impressed about from this Quakes team, especially that midfield combo of Cronin and Baca. They got back to what they've done so well in the first month and a half, which is win the second ball and initiate the attack. And a lot of it went through Marvin Chavez, who was, to me, I think, the man of the match. Right now, I think the Quakes are probably the favorites. Top of the Supporters' Shield race as well, looking the part of a team that really wants to take home some silverware.
Let's take a look at some of the top performers of the weekend. Marvin Chavez, who has just been so good for this Quakes team with 2 assists off corners. You had Sean Johnson just going lights out, like we said, against Sporting Kansas City. And Danny Coverman's now, who has 7 goals in 7 games.
Hey, Coverman saw our graphic a couple weeks ago about Stern John's all-time record for goals per 90 minutes, and he said, challenge accepted. And he's now somewhere around 0.9 goals per 90 minutes through his MLS career. If he keeps going at this rate, we'll have to, you know, build a plaque of him outside BMO Field. He has been spectacular. Marvin Chavez, when he came to San Jose, a lot of Dallas fans said, you know what, this is a guy who's too much about himself, too much about getting his own goals, not much of a setup. I mean, second in the league in assists, or third in the league, excuse me, in assists now, doing the part on dead balls, doing the part just in build-up play, and just spectacular 2-way game against LA. And of course, Sean Johnson, maybe the performance of the year for any keeper. There was nothing Sporting Kansas City could have done. They had 39 crosses. They had 27 shots. He was a wall. He was a wall. It was just a virtuoso performance from him.
And maybe some honorable mentions here for Kuverman's Toronto teammate Torsten Frings. Aaron Winter might have done a lot of things right in Toronto, but these are two things he definitely did get right. Frings has been huge for them in securing results since Paul Mariner has taken over. Eddie Gavin has been a rock for the surprising crew, considering all of those injuries. He had a goal for them this past weekend and a win against Real Salt Lake.
And let's not forget Eddie Johnson with his brace against the Revs as well.
Mm-hmm. Taking a look at the standings, San Jose have increased their lead atop the Supporters Shield race. They've got 36 points. That is now 4 ahead of second place Real Salt Lake. Seattle now level with Vancouver after getting that point in New England with 26. Colorado with a huge win over Portland, leapfrogging LA. They've got 22 points. Out east, DC United now stand alone in first place after a big win over Montreal. They've got 33 points. New York tight behind with 31. Sporting Kansas City, they are stuck on 29, but look at Chicago, now 2 points behind with a 3-game winning streak, and Houston holding tight to 5th place thanks to that penalty kick winner by Brian Ching. That'll do it for us, but we will be back really soon. There's a ton of midweek action this week through the holidays. We will check back with you on Friday. Enjoy the games.